There is a strange book like this. When it was first published, no one cared, even the author had to pay out of pocket to publish, but 20 years later, this book suddenly sold with a circulation of nearly 35 million copies, and it took a step forward to become a bestseller in the world. The book I want to mention here is The Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. He is an American businessman, speaker, and author, and this book is also praised by the media as a starting point to master wealth. In the book, the poor father is the author's biological father. He is a university professor with a stable income, but he is in debt all his life. The rich father is the father of a friend, Mike. He dropped out of high school early to go out into society, but he was able to build a multi-billion-dollar empire and is also the idol of the author Kiyosaki. From the lives of two fathers, Kiyosaki clearly saw the root cause of the gap between rich and poor. At the same time, through interesting stories, it will show us the mysterious laws behind money. Kiyosaki wrote in the book that the reason why a person is poor is not because of how much money he can make, but lies in his thoughts and actions. If you don't master the basic logic of wealth, you can only be a wage earner all your life. That's right, if we can't escape the thinking of the poor, no matter how hard we try, we will always be poor. Hi. Welcome back to MYBED, the channel that shares knowledge to develop yourself comprehensively through good books. This week, I will bring you a sharing article with the content that if you don't change these thoughts, you will still be poor through the very famous book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Please listen together. Part 1, The Infinite Rat Race Trap. In the book, author Robert Kiyosaki tells a very interesting childhood story that when he was 9 years old, he went to his rich father's supermarket to work for 10 cents an hour. Unexpectedly, the rich father refused and said that if he gave him the salary he wanted, he would be tied up in this supermarket with this money for the rest of his life. He would only spend with a little salary. This story is very similar to most people. We are often trapped in a fixed and cyclical cycle. That is, wake up to go to work to receive salary, pay bills, and then wake up again to go to work again to pay bills. This working model is defined by Kiyosaki as an infinite rat race trap. Humans are like rats in a steel cage. Their feet pedal very fast, the steel cage creaks loudly, but the next day they wake up they are still locked in the cage. These people only see the salary and they believe that as long as they receive a higher salary, they can buy more things and have more happiness. But in fact, they cannot see the opportunity to become rich outside of work in the endless busyness of this cycle. And even they don't have the awareness to seek for themselves the change. Going back to the story of Kiyosaki's part-time job at the supermarket, the rich father not only did not raise his salary but also let him work for free. This forced him to find a breakthrough from the existing foundation. The author returned to the supermarket with a burning motivation and began to observe and think. Then, he discovered that the comic books in the supermarket were completely unsaleable, only to be sold to the financial station as scrap. Therefore, he decided to use all of his savings to buy hundreds of these comic sets and open a reading room in the garage. From this formula, he earned a small profit by renting comics. In life, how many of us are falling into this infinite rat race trap? Even there are many people who are in this steel cage without knowing it. We are gradually exhausted to the point where we have no time to think, only know how to live like a survival machine, working for money. However, those who always confuse money often fail in the business of making money. Therefore, to open this steel cage, we must stop this running style like Kiyosaki once did. You need to use the running time to think, to find a way to break this endless race. Conclusions. The infinite rat race trap is a working model that traps us in a fixed, cyclical cycle. People trapped in this trap often only focus on salary and do not see the opportunity to become rich. To escape this trap, we need to change our mindset and actions. How to escape the infinite rat race trap? To escape this trap, we need to change our mindset and actions. Here are some suggestions. Change your mindset. Recognize that salary is only one part of income. Focus on creating assets rather than just income. Learn how to manage personal finances effectively. Take action. Invest in education and personal development. Look for new business opportunities. Build passive income sources. The best way to escape this trap is to start taking action right now. Don't procrastinate. Part 2. Running blindly following the fixed mindset. In psychology, there is a concept called social clock, which means that only the things that are regulated by society at what age should be done. This is similar to the concept of the poor father that has been ingrained in his thinking and passed on to his children, that they should study hard, get into a prestigious university, find a good job, and then work until retirement. Author Kiyosaki grew up following this social clock, but gradually he felt more and more that he was wrong. He observed his peers around him. After graduating, they got married and bought a house on installment. After having children, they would have to spend more and start using credit cards. These people seemed to have a stable life with a house, a car, but in reality, they did not have much savings. Every day, they still had to work overtime to make ends meet. And once they were unfortunate enough to encounter a setback, they would be completely helpless because they did not have the ability to deal with such situations. At the same time, the author also witnessed a friend of his who was laid off and brought his entire family, young and old, to the company to beg for mercy from the boss. Even the poor father had to suffer unemployment when the economic crisis hit and could not find a way to make a living. Therefore, the author followed the advice of his rich father, gave up the stable job that followed the crowd, and temporarily said goodbye to the survival method with a single fixed job. Kiyosaki expanded his access to many industries, including accounting, law, and auditing. He also worked as a waiter, construction worker, salesperson, and interned at major companies, interested in market research. Then he founded a real estate investment company and earned his first big sum of money in his life. The rich father said that no matter what profession you choose, you should keep an open mind. What is more terrifying than when we solidify our own thinking? The scariest thing in life is that we run in one direction, and the thing we need to avoid the most is to live and follow the crowd psychology. Therefore, only by breaking out of the stereotyped thinking can we achieve wealth. Key takeaways. A fixed mindset is a trap that makes us passive, afraid to challenge ourselves, and easily fail. To achieve wealth, we need to have an open mind, be willing to learn and change. Don't follow the crowd, but find your own way. How to break out of a fixed mindset. To break out of a fixed mindset, we need to regularly interact with people who have a positive and open mindset. Read books, magazines, and newspapers to expand your knowledge and perspective. Experience new and adventurous things. Be confident in yourself and your abilities. Remember, our thinking is something that can be changed. As long as we are aware and determined, we can completely break down our own limits and achieve great things in life. Part 3. Short-sighted thinking prevents us from seeing the big picture. In the book, Kiyosaki tells the story of a female friend who is a journalist. One day, she came to him to complain about something. She said that her articles were all well received by readers, but her books, which she wrote with all her heart and effort, did not sell well. She felt that she was being undervalued and could only live on her job as a staff writer at the newspaper with a meager writing fee, and she also could not achieve financial freedom. The author suggested that she should learn more about marketing and sales. When she heard the advice, she seemed annoyed. She blamed Kiyosaki for not mistaking her for a salesperson and that she would never allow herself to do a simple job like sales. The two said goodbye in silence. Kiyosaki felt very sorry. If she could escape from her narrow career perspective and master the ability to operate the market, her income would certainly not be just a meager amount of writing money. The author also advised us to consider careers as a net and we need to deploy them globally. Here, the author takes himself as an example. When he was a sailor, he studied international trade. When he joined the Marines, he learned how to lead an army. During his time working at Sappos, he mastered management skills, and when he went on lecture tours all over the world, he built his personal brand. Each step of Kiyosaki's was like a chess piece on a career board. All skills are a thread in the network leading to wealth and prosperity. And it is only by expanding the network and weaving it tightly that the flow of wealth can flow in like water. You know that family background, ability, and luck are all positive factors that support us in the process of making money. But if we keep having short-term thinking, narrow thinking, and still have a one-sided, stubborn mindset, then it will only be obstacles to the flow of your wealth. Put your vision into a big picture, develop your thinking into a holistic thinking, then you can have the ability to achieve prosperity. Key takeaways. Short-sighted thinking will prevent us from seeing the big picture, from developing ourselves, and from achieving success in life. To be successful, we need to have a holistic mindset, to see things in a comprehensive way. We must constantly learn, enrich our knowledge and skills to expand the network and develop ourselves. How to develop a holistic mindset? To develop a holistic mindset, we can refer to the following suggestions. Read books, newspapers, and magazines regularly to update information and broaden your horizons. Regularly interact with successful people with a holistic mindset. Attend courses and seminars to learn new knowledge and skills. Regularly think and practice how to think in a positive and optimistic way. Remember that thinking is something that can be changed. As long as we are aware and make an effort, we can completely develop a holistic mindset and achieve success in life. Part 4. Lack of strategic thinking, diligence becomes useless. In his book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the famous American economist Robert Kiyosaki once revealed that the most frightening thing in society today is that the poor class always wants stability and does not want to change. In the book, Kiyosaki tells the story of a friend who worked 3 jobs at the same time to support his 4 children. He had to ask Kiyosaki for help and felt like he was going to die from exhaustion and still couldn't save enough money to send his children to college. Kiyosaki suggested that he should quit his busy job and spend time learning about investing and making money by buying low and selling high on small apartments. After making changes, he became an investment expert and said goodbye to the days of making money hard work based on labor. Finally, he experienced the joy of making money with his brain. The author believes that money is a concept. If you want to make more money, you have to change your concept of money. Instead of telling people to quit their jobs to make money blindly, Kiyosaki advises us to use the mindset of wealth creation. Wealth cannot be achieved through labor in a mechanical way, but through learning, thinking, and practicing more. It's not that the poor don't work hard, it's just that they lack strategic thinking. They often think that hard work will eventually pay off. They would rather suffer in their current position than accept challenges and new fields. They would rather do repetitive jobs than accept the challenges of new knowledge. As many people have said, we have built something, moving the bricks around ourselves. But this inefficient diligence has inadvertently created a wall around you and your own path. Truly good people will never bury themselves in work, but will always be looking for new innovations and experiences, changes in thinking to achieve breakthroughs. The rich dad said, stability in work is not everything, continuous thinking is everything. Part 5. Self-consuming thinking makes us lack the ability to act. In the book, Kiyosaki tells a fable about a chicken in a farm. Other animals are playing in the sun, but one chicken keeps wandering around the coop, crying that the sky is falling. Kiyosaki believes that many of us are very similar to this chicken, living in fear and anxiety all day long. This is why we have missed many opportunities. Once, Kiyosaki and a friend passed by a gas station. After learning that the price of oil had risen by 15%, the friend became frustrated and anxious, analyzing why the price of oil had risen. He was worried that a financial crisis was coming and the world was about to go into chaos. On the other hand, Kiyosaki was also aware of the severity of the issue and immediately bought 65% of the shares of a small oil company. 3 months later, when they passed by the gas station again, Kiyosaki had made a profit from the rising stock prices. Meanwhile, the friend's assets had been halved. This was only because the friend was always in a state of anxiety, unable to concentrate on his work, and money just evaporated. Self-consuming thinking is a truly forbidden mindset for making money. We often fall into a state of panic due to the smallest disturbances in the outside world. Before a crisis occurs, we often fall into a state of fear and self-intimidation. Just like the author's poor father, he was always afraid of failure, afraid of loss, and finally could only complain that he couldn't. Meanwhile, the rich father did not think too much, but took action immediately to achieve his goals. Former ABB chairman Percy Barnevik has a famous opinion that 5% of success lies in strategy and 95% lies in the ability to execute. God will not give you what you want, only what you do will give you the corresponding rewards. You need to remember that thinking is just a problem, taking action will have the answer. Part 6. The paradox of throwing wood. The paradox of throwing wood is when a person sits alone in the cold night with a pile of wood in their hands, shouting at the big fire. "When will you warm me up? Then I will put more wood for you." As we all know, only when the person puts the wood in front of the stove will it burn and be able to warm him up. In fact, there are many people who fall into this paradox of throwing wood. They want to be rich, but only think what I want without thinking much about what others want. In the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the poor father and the rich father are both very kind people, but they have a big difference in that the poor father puts himself first and will help others when he has extra, while the rich father puts others first and always believes in the rule of win-win. The rich father believes that if you want to get something, you have to give first. Even if the rich father does not make much profit, he also contributes money on time to charities. Even if he loses money, he thinks of the interests of his partners first. Over time, the rich father is increasingly respected, his relationships are expanding, his career is also growing. Meanwhile, the path of the poor father is becoming increasingly narrow. After losing his job, he could not find anyone to help him. Unfortunately, in reality, there are many people who are very similar to the poor father. When it comes to benefits, they always put themselves first. When working with anyone, they always think of maximizing their own benefits first. If we do not have a selfless and giving mindset and always live in the paradox of throwing wood, then we may only earn a little money all our lives, but will never touch true wealth. Getting rich is like being human, it is a process of giving first and receiving later. Here are 6 insights that I have summarized through the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. In fact, this book has once made Kiyosaki suffer a lot of accusations and criticisms because the author has exposed the true nature of the poor in an unsparing way. But time is the fairest judge. In the past 20 years, this book has proven that hard work, but still keeping the mindset of the poor is the root cause that prevents us from being rich and prosperous. There have also been many people who have become rich fathers thanks to this book. It is also because of this that Kiyosaki's financial wisdom is also recognized and appreciated more. After reading this book, you must understand that the real purpose of the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad is to wake us up. Don't work for money. Real wealth is never money but our minds. The best investment is not the market but ourselves. To go from poor to rich can only be based on the improvement of thinking and awareness. Finally, I wish you can use the powerful weapon of thinking like a lever to change your own life. If you find this video useful, please share it with those who need it. Give me a like, subscribe, and turn on notification bell to watch the latest videos. If you have any emotions or thoughts, please leave them in the comments below. Once again, thank you, and see you in the next videos.